hapon po sa lahat at sana po ay nasa mabuti tayong kalagayan. So despite all the challenges what we are facing right now. So mayroon tayong pandemya at mayroon din po tayong bagyo. But anyway, nandito po tayo. We are exercising the spirit of unity. Ika nga sa atin pong tema ngayon sa IIEE, energizing IIEE for membership empowerment, leading to the global connectivity. So I think this is the manifestation of this theme. So napakaganda na mag-share po tayo ng knowledge kasi alam naman po natin na hindi po natin talaga covered ang lahat ng aspeto ng electrical engineering. So yung mga nakaraang mga topic actually kagaya ng mga design sa ship. So yun, mga unique din po ng mga topic yun. So sa pamamagitan nito, nagkakaroon tayo ng konting kaalaman at kung i-explore natin further, doon po na kumbaga nagsama-sama yung atin pong mga field of practice sa iba't ibang industriya. So siguro hindi ko na patatagalin at sisimulan na po natin ang atin pong topic. Okay, so so power system automation is a very broad topic. So I think we are going to limit also our objectives for this afternoon. So number one, I'm going to discuss about the overview of substation automation. Because nowadays, sa ngayon po, when we are talking about power system automation, we will be referred directly to substation automation. Okay? So parang synonymous yung power system automation at saka substation automation. Anyway, medyo logical naman siya kasi yung pinaka-important part ng ng power system nandoon naman po sa substation. Kaya ito din po yung mga subtopics na atin pong papasadahan ngayon and I hope I can discuss it in easiest way possible. Okay? So parang overview lang din kasi yung di-discuss natin given na limited po yung ating time. Okay? Of course, we have to review also some basic functions of primary equipment leading to the development of automation process. Kasi I just realized this because we have a diverse audience right now. So may mga matagal na sa industriya, meron ding mga baguhan pa lang. So huwag po natin hayaan na sila po ay medyo mahuli, kaya medyo i-review lang din po natin. And kung may pagkakataon, tatalakayin din natin yung smart grid system. Although yung smart grid system parang kasama na rin po hindi lang ang substation, kundi yung sa generation at yung sa tawag nitong sa demand side. Okay, meron tayong demand side management, may mga energy management system. Okay, so tuloy po tayo. Ngayon, bakit tayo, why we are going to automate? So according to several reference, we are going to automate to increase the productivity, to improve the cost efficiency, as well as the improve employee and public safety. So I think this is the classical reasons bakit tayo mag-automate ng system. Not just for being fancy, but because we need these things. Okay? As an engineer, I think this is very self-explanatory to us. However, nowadays, because of the global warming, mga kinakailangan natin ng mga renewable energy, so pinili ko na i-include siya as part of why we need to automate the system. So in order for us to maximize the utilization of renewable energy, because I believe that like for example yung mga solar natin at in particular mga solar at mga tawag nito yung mga wind power plant, so mga intermittent po yun sila eh. So kailangan natin i-automate. And how are we going to do that? So parang yan po ang i-discuss ko mamaya doon po sa smart grid. Although ano lang yun siya overview. Kasi as of this time, parang nasa conceptual level pa lang din siya eh. So most of the time, ang atin pong application talaga ay nasa substation. Okay, so this is the structure of power system automation. So the structure, so the structure of power system automation. As we can see, we have 4 or 5 main elements or main components. So from protection to monitoring to measurement as well as the control. So these things already exist even before the advent of automation. Pero with the advent of, nung dumating yung tinatawag natin na data communication, so parang nagiging na siya, possibly na silang lahat ay mag-usap-usap. They are already can communicate with each other. And as an engineer, we are going to create a system. So therefore, meron tayong mga system. Actually, hindi lang naman power system ang ating ino-automate. Sa mechatronics, meron kaming mga factory automation. So meron din kaming ibang mga automation na ginagamit. Okay? So ito pong pinaka-core talaga ng power system automation. Okay, so let's go to the one of the most important question, because this is the reason why we came here. So how to automate the system? Okay, so according to several reference, we can automate the system by just having this very simple simple statement. So ito yung pinaka-key statement. Okay? Baka masyadong mabilis, ano? Power system automation can be done by interpreting the system of equipment functions into a system of data control and algorithm. So medyo maigsi lang siya, but we need to clarify this statement. So klaruhin lang natin ano itong system of equipment functions, and also ano itong system of data control and algorithm. Okay, so to explain it further, I need magsasite lang ako na example. So, sige, ano po ang nakikita natin sa picture? Meron tayong nakikita na transformer. Okay? Tapos may Buchholz relay. So, pinili ko itong example na ito kasi Buchholz relay has been invented way back around 100 years ago, mga 1920 siguro or mga 1930s. Hanggang ngayon, ginagamit pa rin po siya natin. Although ang iba may mga electronics na. So, pero unahin muna natin itong transformer, ano? So ano-ano ba ang mga data na makukuha natin sa transformer? Okay. Una-una, meron tayong transformer rating. So we have MVA. And also, we have voltage because as an electrical engineer, this is very common to us. The definition of transformer. Step up the voltage, step down the voltage. So if the voltage is changing also, we can change also the value of electric current. Tapos meron din tayong nire-regulate na frequency. So these things are very important. After that, pag mag-operate na yung ating ang atin pong if we are going to operate our transformer in bulk application, so hindi lang naman itong MVA, voltage, current at frequency ang involved, but also involved din yung temperature, di ba? Meron tayong temperature, ambient temperature na mini-maintain. Pag hindi po siya maintain, it goes beyond the undesirable level, magkakaroon ng negative effects sa ating operation. So very common po 'yan. So kailangan din nating i-maintain yung pressure. So bakit ba yung pressure? So kasi pala yung atin pong transformer oil, okay, anyway example lang ito, ano? Transformer oil, habang nag-ooperate, meron pala siyang nangyayaring parang tinatawag nila na minor fault doon sa ilalim. Anyway, this minor fault, hindi ito siya nararamdaman, pero this is irreversible, leading to the deterioration of the dielectric strength of our transformer oil. Nagkakaroon ng breakdown yung dielectric strength. So ano pag ang liquid, wala na siyang dielectric strength, ano na mangyayari? So magkakaroon na ng conduction ng electricity, di ba? So, yun pala, pag mayroong minor faults, nagpo-produce pala yun ng gas. And then the gas will be accumulated here until such time na magkaroon siya ng desired, yung tinatawag natin na set point sa pressure. So kung maabot na yun siya, before the breakdown of our transformer oil, so mag-trigger siya ng contact. Pwede natin gamitin sa ating alarm, pwede natin gamitin sa ating tinatawag na alarm at saka yung mga notification system. So this is a classical control that we have before 100 years ago. Okay, but as the power system grow, yung power requirement natin, lumalaki din yung atin pong mga substation, ating mga power plant. So in this case, meron na tayong mga malalaking mga at nagiging complicated na. So okay, so by the way, itong sa system of equipment functions, ito pala ay system of equipment functions. This is in the physical world. Okay, yung nakikita natin. Tapos itong system of data control and algorithm, this belongs to the virtual world. Okay, so ibig sabihin, dalawa ang ating world na i-consider ngayon. Isang physical, isang virtual. Okay, so let's move forward. So what are the things that we can see in the physical world? Okay, so we have the physical world, of course, yung ating ano kanina, transformer. Meron siyang system of equipment function. Okay, mga Buchholz relay, may mga sensor, on-load tap changer, mga instrument transformer natin, at iba't iba pa. So ito yung mga makikita natin. All right. So sa virtual world, we can see data, another data, then a lot of another data. So ibig sabihin, talagang data lang ang ating makikita sa virtual world. Okay? So again, halimbawa dito sa ating power plant, meron tayong frequency control. Yan din, physical world din yan. Kasi we need to regulate the frequency of our generator, synchronous generator sa power plant. Otherwise, magkakaroon ng undesirable output, magkaroon ng voltage collapse, o di kaya may mga iba pang mangyayari. So, ito, physical world din, nakikita natin. Sa virtual world, data pa rin. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, right now, we need to know what are the different components, the data collectors, how are we going to do the data modeling, how are we going to do the parameter setting, as well as the architecture of our system para ma-automate natin siya. Okay? So in this case, ito na yung ating hahanapin ngayon. Ano-ano yung mga bagay na ito para maka-automate tayo. Kasi if we cannot interpret the system of equipment functions, we cannot proceed to automation kasi hindi natin na-interpret into data form. Okay, let's move forward. So what are the components involved in this system? So number one, we have the RTU or the remote terminal unit. So classical example, remote terminal unit acts as an interface between SCADA and the physical device. So mamaya i-discuss natin yung SCADA. So ito yung RTU natin. Ano ito? General Electric. Okay, so ano yung mga physical device? Meron tayong mga substation, mga transformer, iba't iba. May mga CT, VT po dyan. Also, the RTU can send or receive data from other devices. Okay, it can send and receive control commands from other devices. And also, it can communicate information all over the network. So, yun po ang function ng RTU. So, tandaan po natin yung RTU. So, meron din tayong PLC or Programmable Logic Controller. So, itong PLC actually, this is mostly used in industrial system, mga industrial processes. But why I am bringing it here sa power system automation, kasi I advise if you wanted to be into an automation process, dapat knowledgeable tayo sa PLC. Sorry po, may audio na naman. Sorry, paki-off ko ng mga microphone. Kasi naka-headphone ako. Malakas. Nabibingi po ako. Pasensya po. Okay. So, sana ba tayo? Okay, so although this programmable logic controller are mostly used in the industrial processes, however, dinala ko dito sa power system automation because pag alam natin kasi yung PLC, mas madali nating maintindihan yung interpretation of data. Okay, so if we are going to compare the PLC and RTU, by the way, number one yung sa gamit. RTU mostly sa mga, meron din actually siya sa industrial processes. Meron din siya sa power system automation. Tapos, itong kasing programmable logic controller, ang pinaka-features niya is yung perform logical control. Ito, perform logical control. Then, it also replaced the electromechanical relays. This is one of the legacy of programmable logic controller that was developed by Modicon way back around 1970. So, yung Modicon ngayon, parang binili na sila ng Schneider Electric. So, makikita natin ngayon, Modicon, parang ano na lang model. But initially, company yan sila. Okay? So, nire-replace niya electromechanical relays. Halimbawa, yung meron tayong timer dati, di ba? So kung meron kang physical timer, if you are going to use the PLC, then the PLC hindi mo na kailangan yung timer kasi yung pinaka-timer nandoon na sa ilalim ng PLC. Doon na pinoprocess. And also, pag electromechanical relay, kung meron kang isang industrial relay, you have one coil, when power supply, only 4 contacts. Dalawang normally closed, dalawang normally open. But if you're going to bring it to a PLC, isang coil, you can have more than 10 auxiliary contact, maski 50 pa kaya, basta meron yung siyang feature na ganun. Okay? So yun po yung programmable logic controller. So this is the building blocks of PLC and RTU. So meron tayong PLC, meron tayong RTU. So halimbawa, ang RTU may power supply, ang PLC meron ding power supply. And both of them have input and output device. So ito yung sinasabi kong modeling kanina. Okay, like for example, dun sa mga nag-PPLC. Di ba pag meron tayong physical device characterized by a push button, contact normally open, normally closed, analog input, di ba meron tayong i-assign dito na contact din into our programming sa mga ladder diagram. So parang ganun din po yung mga nangyayari. Tapos meron tayong output in order for us to deliver what we desire sa atin pong system. So yan po yung PLC at ito namang RTU. So RTU cannot perform logical control. So yun yung pinaka-main difference nila. But the structure and the building blocks are actually the same. Okay? So let's move forward. So ito na po yung ating SCADA. So SCADA is an acronym for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. Okay? So from that acronym, meron tayong dalawang part. Meron tayong data acquisition. Okay? Acquisition of different values such as voltage, current, frequency, generator output, winding, temperature, level of vibration, and others. Lahat ng mga data pwede nilang i-kunin. Okay? So ito yung ating PLC, pwede siyang kukuha ng data na ganito. Maging yung RTU. Okay? Actually, ang PLC ngayon, sa totoo lang, nagiging ano na yan PAC, hindi na siya PLC. Programmable Automation Controller. Kasi pwede na rin niyang gawin yung ano ng RTU, yung function ng RTU. Okay? So meron din tayong supervisory control. So ano yung supervisory control? Halimbawa yung example natin kanina na transformer temperature. So we are going to set it in ambient temperature. What if nandoon na siya sa critical level? Ano ang gagawin ng system natin? Posible na mag-send tayo ng notification alarm, magbi-blink doon sa ating HMI para makita natin na parang critical level ng temperature, we have to do something. Okay? So kung ano ang gagawin mo, it's either manual or automatic, depende na yan kung paano mo siya dinesign sa system. So yun yung tinatawag na supervisory control. We are controlling the system by means or based on the data that we have taken from the system also. So hindi lang naman temperature, lahat, frequency, voltage pwede. Kung high voltage, pwede mong babaan doon sa inyong on-load tap changer. Kung low voltage, pwede rin. Kung sagad na ang ating on-load tap changer, gagamit tayo ng mga series compensating capacitors, mga ano ba yung para pang lower down ng voltage, mga static VAR compensators, yun po ang mga function niya. Okay. So this SCADA actually can be considered as a traditional architecture. Itong architecture na nile-lecture ko sa inyo ngayon, this is actually a traditional architecture. Itong mga PLC, ito ding ang mga RTU. Bakit? So liwanagin natin. Kasi meron na tayong tinatawag na IED ngayon or Intelligent Electronic Devices. Pero bago ang lahat, gusto ko munang linawin. Baka kasi mag-search kayo sa Google about IED. So, kasi itong IED, mayroong dalawang meaning. Merong IED na sa industrial process. For example, mag-search ka sa Google, lalabas ito. An IED is a device that is added to an equipment in industrial processes. So, baka malito tayo. Ang pinaka-primary example, halimbawa, meron kang compressor. Di ba sa compressor, meron tayong controller. Okay, so that controller can communicate with other device in the system. Ilagay mo, idalhin mo sa computer mo para at real time malalaman mo kung ano ang pressure ng ano ang level ng hangin. Yun ay IED pa rin. But we are not to that right now at this point. Kasi parang ito din ay nakapaloob ito sa akin pong lecture way back 2 weeks ago doon sa mga State University ng Batangas at saka sa Palawan State University na power plant instrumentation and control. So ito yung pinaka-application niya doon. Okay? So dito, ang gagamitin natin na definition ng IED, itong pangalawa, sa power system automation. So ano itong IED? IED is a device with multiple functions such as protection, control, monitoring, metering, and communication. So ibig sabihin, yung structure ng power system automation kanina na pinakita ko sa first slide, mga first slides, kasama na pala doon sa IED na yon. Okay? So let's move forward in order for us to clarify what is an IED. IED is, halimbawa, ang IED pwede siya magkaroon ng metering functions. Like for example, if we are going to measure these values, which is very typical sa atin pong power system. Okay? Siemens SICAM o Cyprotic. So meron din ang IED, pwede din siyang magiging control functions, yung parang PLC. Okay? Yung IED, pwede rin siyang magiging monitoring. Like for example, if we are monitoring the level of the pressure sa atin pong SF6, sa atin pong sulfur hexafluoride, doon kailangan nating i-monitor, di ba? Kasi medyo bumababa yun, dagdagan natin. Okay? Maging yung ating mga transformer oil, pwede natin yang gamitin itong IED na ito. And also, pwede rin natin siyang gamiting protection device. Okay, para po sa mga hindi po na linya sa nakapag-practice ng nasa mga power system, ang protection kasi natin sa mga high voltage or mga medium voltage system is not only the circuit breaker which protects the system against overcurrent, overload or short circuit. Hindi lamang po 'yun. Kundi marami pa. Actually, this is described, characterized by 94 or 96 according to IEEE C37.2. Yun po ay ANSI device numbers, yung mga numerical natin. Okay, so i-discuss din natin mamaya. So paano po yun mangyari? Halimbawa, meron tayong circuit breaker dito. Okay, may circuit breaker tayo, tapos may monitor ng atin pong CT, current transformer. So itong CT monitor niya. Kung magkakaroon ng anomaly sa atin pong system, beyond these two short circuit or what we call this short circuit or overload, mag-trigger siya ng contact. In a sense na meron siyang tawag nito sariling power supply. Okay, magkakaroon ng circuit, complete yung circuit. Yun na yun, i-trigger na niya, ipupull na niya yung trip unit ng ating circuit breaker. Because there is no other way for the system to cut the circuit other than circuit breaker. Kaya kung makikita ninyo sa gilid ng ating circuit breaker, meron tayong trip unit o meron tayong mga motorized kung ano pang tawag natin yan. Okay, so ito yung ating tinatawag na protection relay. So protection o protective relay. So yan yung parang pinaka-classical. Pero ngayon, with the advent of IED, ito na siya. Okay, so halimbawa, ang pinakita kong example sa inyo, this is an IED for generator protection. So as I have said, according to ANSI device numbers, IEEE C32.7, C37.2, meron siyang 96. Halimbawa, sabihin natin ito, i-discuss natin itong number 40 dito sa atin pong generator. Meron siyang protection against loss of excitation. What will happen if the excitation will be lost? Baka magkaroon ng voltage collapse. Okay, eventually mag-lead yan sa mga reverse power. But hindi mangyayari yan kasi redundant po ang ating protection sa atin pong transmission line. So kung meron din tayong ito, differential protection, 87G. So R&D 87G. So ito, very high-tech na sila. meron ng mga, kung ilalagay natin kung saan natin ilalagay ating city, ang atin din pong mga voltage transformer. Okay, so let's move forward. Ibig sabihin, ang IED pala is a general. Kaya niya gawin yung lahat. In a sense, nasa modern architecture ng atin pong power system automation, na-phase out na po yung RTU at saka PLC. Okay? By the way, linawin ko lang yung sinabi kong na-phase out. Yung device lang ang na-phase out. But the function itself, the function of RTU, as well as the function of PLC is being carried out dito sa IED. Okay? So, ang function lang ang function nandoon pa rin. Pero yung device sa mga modern, hindi na tayo gagamit noon. Okay, sana po naging malinaw. Tapos, depende sa manufacturer, okay? Depende sa manufacturer, may mga IED na multifunction. Hindi ibig sabihin na IED for protection only, IED for metering only, no. There are different IEDs with multifunction. Like for example, kukuha ka ng halimbawa yung ABB. Ano pala natin ang ABB dito? Meron tayong mga RAF 615, may mga RED 670, yung mga feeder protection natin. Okay? So yun, majority nun is protection, pero meron din siyang mga contacts to perform this function, and meron din siyang mga RTU to monitor these things. Okay? So different configuration. So marami yan, pati sa GA, meron tayong multi-lane, meron tayong sa Cyprotec, sa Siemens, sa SEL 8740, marami po tayong mga ganyang mga model. Okay? So general siya. So the next thing that I'm going to discuss is HMI, Human Machine Interface, because there must be some sort of a device which will interpret the language of the computer. Kasi yung language ng computer, binary, 1010. So hindi natin maintindihan. So itong HMI, nilalagay niya doon sa screen. Okay, tayo naman, kung anong gusto nating mangyari with a personal computer, meron tayong keyboard, meron tayong computer mouse, and other input and output devices, maka-interact tayo doon sa HMI or Human Machine Interface. Okay? So these are the paki-mute, pasensya po kasi malakas. Parang nabibingi ako pag may open na Okay?
Sir, nawala po yung yung audio nyo.
Sir, naka-mute po kayo.
Hello? Hello?
And po sir, rinig na po kayo.
Okay. Okay, so meron ng slide presentation. Hello? May presentation na po tayo.
Yes po.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you po.
Meron na po.
So meron tayong gateway. So we have here, this is the gateway. Okay, so this is our gateway. It serves as the communication interface between the substation and the area dispatch. Doon sa atin po mga balancing authority. Yung nagbabalance ng demand ng customer at yung dinideliver natin na power doon sa papunta sa customer. So dapat balance yun Almost as much as possible balance yun. Okay? So, yun yung gateway. So, summary, as of this point, we learned this, okay? The reason why we need to automate the system and the key statement on how to automate the system. Yung sinasabing ko na system of equipment functions, and then it must be interpreted to system of data control and algorithm. Tapos, different PSA components and its function. Okay, na natin yan, na-discuss na natin yan. Okay, so sa ngayon, at this point, yung atin pong, nasabi ko na noon na yung RTU at saka yung PLC, they are already phased out as a device. But the function of PLC and the RTU is being carried out to IED. So therefore, in modern power system architecture, we are just going to deal with IED. Okay? And then we will bring it to SCADA. So, yan. How are we going to collect data? Kasi, di ba, how are we going to, meron tayong system of data? Of course, we have to know how to collect the data. So, yan, ang mga pinaka-common natin na mga data collecting device. Meron tayong mga instrument transformer, CT, VT. Tapos, meron ako highlight, temperature transmitter, may pressure, at saka may transducer. Bakit ko ito highlight? Kasi these values are not electrical, readily available. Unlike this current transformer, they are already electrical. So what are we going to do with these values, yung mga transducer? Okay? Okay, mamaya i-discuss natin ano. So meron tayong current transformer. So current transformer, alam na po natin yan. We have two standards. So pag sinabi natin ang secondary is 5, pag meron tayong 100 or 200 na dumaan dito, merong 5 ampere dito. Tapos ilalagay natin sa atin pong IED. Okay? So yung mga 200:5, 5 ang secondary is mostly US standard. Tapos yung mga 100:1, 1 ang secondary is European standard. Okay, so meron din tayong voltage transformer. So different types of voltage transformer that we can find in our substation. Okay, alam na rin natin yan. Then meron tayong merging unit. Mamaya i-discuss ko itong merging unit. So this is only for 61850 protocol. So what is a merging unit? It measures the current and voltage signals from the instrument transformers, merge them and sends to the protective device based on the standardized signal output format. So kasi, di ba, analog tayo. Mamaya, ano ko muna to, itong transmitter. Balikan ko lang yun. So sa ating transmitter, yung mga temperature at saka pressure, there are, okay, so there are there are different, ano ba, yung different ways on how to convert this part into the transmitter. Okay, sa electrical value. So like for example, if we have capacitive, then this is the principle. So pag meron kang material, like for example SF6 gas, then this capacitive plates will move. Okay? So the dielectric distance between two capacitive will change. So therefore, there will be also a change in capacitance. So meron din tayong transformer type. Like for example, ito LVDT. Ano ba yung LVDT? Linear Voltage Differential Transformer. Okay, LVDT. So meron tayong primary coil. The same principle. Pag may papasok dito na material, magkakaroon ng action ang ating spring. And then there is a plunger that will move up and down, changing the reluctance of the transformer. As a result, magbabago din yung voltage. So dito, meron tayong pressure. So this pressure, this is a piezoelectric material. So this is a very specific. Kagaya nung nandoon sa mga digital weighing scale, yung tinatawag nilang load cell, yun po ay pressure. Tawag nito piezoelectric material. It will also deliver voltage. So after collecting this one, it will go into a signal harmonization. So signal harmonization, so these are fixed values. So pag ito ay mag-change, like what happened here, then mag-change din ang potential difference dito. So the same thing din dito sa resistor. fix ang mga resistor, meron tayong value ng DC supply, magbabago ang resistor natin, magbabago din ang voltage difference ng ating Wheatstone bridge. Then this is actually sa mga RTD natin, resistance temperature detector. Kasi alam naman natin na there is a linear, not necessarily linear, but there is a relationship between the temperature and temperature and resistance. As the temperature rise, magtataas din yung ating value ng ating resistance. So yun, parang ganito po ang nangyayari. Then after that, it will be feed into a transmitter. So ito na yung Wheatstone bridge natin. Then it will be interfaced into a circuit. Then after that, makakuha tayo ng 4 to 20 milliampere. So the harmonized signal actually for analog electrical signal is mostly 4 to 20 milliampere. So I think sabihin na natin na 90% 4 to 20 milliampere. Mamaya makikita natin yan sa isang catalog. So meron pang mga 0 to 20, meron ding mga 0 to 5, but those are hindi sila ginagamit kasi nga those are, pag nagsimula ka ng 0, that is dead zero. Whereas pag magsimula ka ng 4, this is live zero. So between what is the difference between the live zero and the dead zero is that ganito lang po yan. Halimbawa, yung supply ko rito nawala. Paano madililaman ng system na yung situation na yun is nawala ang supply or ang value ng mini-measure mo ay talagang nag-zero? So di ba mahirap ma-recognize ng system? So there is no way for the system to recognize it. Unlike, yung pinaka-lowest value mo is 4. So pag mawalan siya ng supply, magiging 0 ito. So the system can recognize, oh, this is loss of supply. Pero pag bumaba yung material or yung medium na mini-measure mo, like for example, temperature or pressure, it goes to the lowest 0, ang value niya is 4 lang. So yan yung kaibahan ng live 0 at dead 0. So that's why the harmonized signal is 4 to 20 milliampere, mostly na ginagamit. Then you are going to feed this to IED or MU or merging unit. Okay, so yung merging unit actually, okay, ito naman is, di ba, kanina 4 to 20 milliampere. But how about this? This is a sinusoidal wave. Those are DC. Okay? So ito naman is sinusoidal wave. Mahirap siya ilagay natin dito doon sa data modeling. So in this case, we are going to what? We're going to digitize the signal. So this is the merging unit. I-digitize niya yung signal. So yun yung parang pinaka-function niya sa case. So this is the data collection. So ito lang siya. So I think we are kung may mga question, mamaya na lang siguro pagkatapos. Okay? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay. So, dito na tayo sa hierarchical control. Okay, di ba nalaman na natin yung mga components and data collection. Paano natin siya i-connect? Okay? So, ito na ang ating hierarchical control. So, okay, but before we are going to continue with the hierarchical control is, sandali. Okay, so alamin muna natin itong what is the meaning of the protocol. Okay, so protocols are a set of hardware or software rules that communicate endpoints. Communication endpoints must follow in order to exchange some sort of information. Ibig sabihin, dapat compatible sila. So compatible, halimbawa may Modbus, yung pinapopular, itong Modbus, ang gumawa nito ay Modicon, yung Schneider na ngayon. Tapos meron sa mga process control, meron ding mga process field bus or mga Profibus. So sa substation, mostly this is DPN3 at saka IEC 61850. So itong mga RTU, ganito, mostly this is DPN3. Okay, but nowadays, kung halimbawa mag-retrofit ka ng mga substation, brownfield project, yung mga greenfield project, mga bagong substation, mostly 61850. That is why, from this point, parang doon na tayo magpa-follow sa IEC 61850 na standard. Okay? So halimbawa yan, ito isang data sheet ng, this is ABB. Okay, communication protocols, makikita mo yan dyan. So, ibig sabihin, pag may 61850 din doon sa kabilang IED or other devices, so ibig sabihin, pwede silang makipag-communicate with each other. But in case incompatible sila, hindi sila pwedeng magkaroon ng, unless merong mga adapter, na magkaroon pa ng mga some sort of modification para lang sila magiging compatible. Okay, let's move forward. So this is the traditional architecture. I borrowed this picture from General Electric. So ito yung ating traditional mga RTU base na mga substation, traditional architecture. So meron tayong bay controller, tapos ito yung ating mga hardwire. So pinakita talaga nila. Para ibig sabihin, mas maganda yung bago. Halimbawa ito, meron kang protection relay, nag-wire ka. Meron kang meter to measure. Meron kang other process controller, meron kang PLC to enable the interlocking of two components. So ibig sabihin, marami kang hardwiring. Okay? But anyway, thankful na na-develop din nila ito. Kasi this leads to our modern architecture. So sa ngayon, pag may mga bagong substation, ito nang ginagamit, IEC 61850. So ngayon, di ba ito, meron itong mga hardwiring. So, meron na silang in-introduce na tinatawag na process bus. Okay, so this is the process bus where we have the primary equipment and then meron tayong mga CT-VT, ganun pa rin. However, ito ay digitize na yung signal into something like this. In order to, number one, less dewiring. This is one of the most important thing na sa mga IEC 61850. Less ang kanyang wiring. Okay? Tapos meron ding tinatawag na faster data transmission because we have the digitized signal from MU, merging unit, meron ding mga GUS, mamaya meron ding manufacturing messaging system. Okay? So these are the modern architecture na ngayon. Okay, so hiramin ulit natin yung GE na General Electric. So before, ito daw yun. Number one, ito makikita natin. Copper needs 1,000 of termination. Manual 1 by 1. Kasi sa atin po mga RTU based na mga architecture, magkakaroon talaga tayo ng redundancy sa wiring. Okay? So after that, ito na ang kanyang result. 53% of the breaker termination, reduce 40%, then na-eliminate na rin yung mga 90%. So ito yung kanina, number 3. So, talagang na-reduce na. Okay? So, this is the advantage of the modern architecture right now of the ESA, Power System Automation. So, yan. Pakita ko lang sa inyo, itong para malaman natin yung ating data collection kanina. Okay? So, like for example, if you are going to use secondary, ito ay, by the way, this is the process bus. This is the specification of the process bus. So paggagamit ka ng CT, 1 ampere or 5 ampere will do. Paggagamit ka ng VT, 25 to 240, okay. Paggagamit ka ng RTD, if you are going to measure a temperature, then you can use this specific RTD, PT100. Okay, 100 ohm platinum. Then current milliampere, meron kang 4 to 20. Milliampere. So meron ding 0 to 20. So but as I have said, mostly yung mga transmitter hindi na nila ginagamit yan ngayon. Kasi ang ginagamit na is 4 to 20 milliampere. And also, we have potentiometer if we are going to do some tuning, yung mga variable values na gusto nating mangyari, pwede tayong gumamit ng transmitter at potentiometer in range of 2 kilo ohm to 20 kilo ohm. So this is now the process bus, which what we call this, which reduce the hard wiring, okay, of our system. Okay, so again, we're going to continue with the hierarchical control. So ito na yung ating hierarchical control ngayon. Meron tayong bay unit. Ito yung process bus natin. Wala nang yung mga wired wiring. Okay? So the process bus here, it conveys unprocessed system of data information, which is a primary communication for voltage, current, as well as the device status. And also, we have the station bus. Okay, may mga station bus which located between the station level and bay level. So ito naman ay particular sila sa ito station protection, control, monitoring, and logging function. So the data that can be obtained from here will go to our SCADA, HMI, mga router natin papunta sa ibang system. Meron pa tayong EMS, Energy Management System, or Data Management System, or mga historian, data historian. Dito yan siya nakahook lahat. Okay? So this is the hardware part of our system. So kung makikita ninyo ito na yung pinaka-tawag nito, pinaka-real scenario na ito sa ano. This is one of our substation in our thermal dito sa ano, thermal power plant. Okay. So we have generator of 16,500 kilovolts, then step up to 110 kV sa dispatch. So ito yung GIS namin dalawa. Papunta dito sa switching hub. So yan, meron tayong LAN, LAN. By the way, the IEC 61850 is, they call it future proof. So ibig sabihin, kahit ano pa ang gagawin, pwede siyang LAN, pwede siyang wireless LAN, o kung meron pang ma-develop later on na mas high-tech pa dyan, ang sabi nila, future-proof. So, capable siya mag-connect doon for as long as we are going to follow the steps. Okay, so kung makikita niyo mga DVD pa, mga LCD. Okay, meron ding router, antenna, GPS receiver for time synchronization. By the way, may nagtatanong, ano bang gamit nitong antenna nito? Okay, is this for the transmission of data? The answer is no. The transmission of data is through wireless LAN, mga access points. So kung access points can have a range of 90 kilometers or 9 kilometers. So pag halimbawa medyo malayo na, magkakaroon na ng mga repeaters. Okay? But the antenna actually is used because of merging unit. 'Di ba yung merging unit natin kanina, we are digitizing the sinusoidal wave that is being produced by our CT and VT. So along the transformation process, meron silang tinatawag na timestamp. And this is the thing. Different manufacturer, meron silang different timestamp. Minsan nasa huli, yung iba naman nasa gitna, yung analog to digital conversion. So medyo magkaroon ng difference. So in this case, meron silang pinalabas na IEEE 1588. Yes, this is the standard IEEE 1588 in which nagkaroon ng time synchronization. Ang ating IEC 61850 will determine the best, okay, the best time. Then it will make it as a reference. So, ano ba ang device na makapag-provide the most accurate time? Kundi ito lang GPS. So that is why GPS is included in our hierarchy. Okay? So yan ang kanyang pinaka time synchronization sa mga merging unit natin. Okay? So let's move forward. Sandali lang, medyo inom muna tayo ng tubig. Okay? So I hope it's clear and hindi tayo masyadong mabilis. Okay? Data modeling. Okay, so ito na yung ano na bang natapos natin? Natapos na natin yung component, natapos natin yung data collection, pati yung hierarchical control. So nalaman natin kanina na yung mga traditional na mga hardwiring has already been eliminated because of this process bus. So yung lahat ng mga hardwire parang nagiging PLC na. 'Di ba? Yung kanina sinabi ko, pag meron kang timer dati sa labas, pwede mo nang dalhin sa loob ng PLC and it will do something for you. Okay? So yun din ang ginagamit ng ating ng ating process bus at ngayon ng ating IED kasi by device wala na tayong RTU, wala na tayong PLC. Ano na lang ang nasa atin ngayon? Ang sa atin ay IED na. Okay? So let's get into the software part. Kasi yung diniscuss ko kanina mula sa components, yun ay puro hardware. Hardware architecture yun. Ano ba ang software architecture ng IEC 61850? So this is called data modeling. So hindi siya parang programming. Data modeling ang tawag. Okay? So like for example, itong Siemens na Cyprotec. Okay? Anuhin natin siya. Meron siyang ganitong function. Meron siyang function na number 67 doon sa device number 67 sa ANSI, time over current pickup. Okay? So the status of the circuit breaker here is closed. And then the phase A is 200 ampere and then the phase A for voltage is 26.3 kV. So we are going to model this one here. Okay? So moving forward, how are we going to model that? So think of IEC 6150 na nakahook siya sa linya, tapos meron siyang physical device, unknown kung ano ang loob nito. So kung bubuksan mo, ito pala yung loob. Okay? So we are going to define now. First, the physical device. Again po, pasensya, medyo nabingi po ako sa mic na open. Okay, thank you po na marami. Pasensya kasi naka-headphone ako. Okay. So, yan. Ito yung physical device. Pag bubuksan natin, meron tayong ganitong mga hierarchy of data. So, unang-una, ito yung physical device natin. Nakahook sa atin pong network address. Pagkatapos, in the second layer, meron tayong tinatawag na logical device. So, meron tayong, ano ba yung mga logical device? Yun na yung ating IED. Meron tayong RED 670 sa ABB, meron tayong REF 615, meron tayong mga multi-lean, Cyprotec, SEL, marami pang iba. Yun mga IED yun. Inside the IED, we have also to define the logical nodes. So meron tayong mga declaration of variables, XCBR, MMXU. Mamaya i-discuss din natin ito. So under XCBI, I have POS, and then in MMXU, I have A. Then that is the data class. Then after that, you have to define the data. Okay, dito. So parang na yan. Yun na yung pinaka-data modeling natin. So ito yung ating i-define ngayon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layers definition. So after that, ayan. So ito na yung ating ating substation. Isang feeder, for example. Meron tayong circuit breaker. Okay? So this circuit breaker is open. Then meron tayong current transformer. Sorry po, meron uling naka-open na mic. Pasensya po kasi ko kasing microphone eh. Okay, pasensya kasi kailangan kong microphone para medyo hindi marinig yung mga ingay sa labas ng flat namin dito. Okay, so dito nakaka-filter siya ng noise. So pag may open mic, medyo nabibingi po tayo. Sige po, thank you. Okay, so saan na ba tayo? Data modeling. Say meron tayong circuit breaker, QO, current transformer. So gagawin natin ng model dito. So in this case, ibig sabihin tapos na tayo sa atin pong physical device doon sa real world. Meron na tayo doong design, meron na tayo doong mga specification, na-compute na natin yung short circuit natin para yung capacity ng ating mechanical withstand nating breaker. Tapos na na rin natin na ang fault current para makuha natin yung knee voltage sa ating CT and others. Mga processes sa physical system. Pagdating natin dito sa IED, Okay, meron tayong IED 1, IED 2. Kanina, hiwalay ang meter doon sa mga RTU at sa PLC hiwalay ang meter, hiwalay ang PLC na kung saan magkaroon ng interlocking gagamit ka ng PLC. Hiwalay din yung parang meter. Okay? Yung local meter na makikita mo mismo yung ano. Okay. So in this case, hindi na mangyayari yon. Hindi na siya hiwalay, kundi magkakaroon ka na ng model sa loob. Okay? So we have a declaration of variables, XCBR. Ano ba itong mga ito? So we have actually IEC 61850 define 13 logical node groups. Okay? So we have group designator, 13 po sila. For example, if I wanted a protection function, the start of my my logical node must be P. Like for example, this is X. That means this is switch gear. This is T. That means this is instrument transformer. Okay? Then the 13 logical groups is expanded or papunta sa 86 logical node class. Okay? So these are the group designator that we have in the previous slide. And then we have here the logical node class in each group. For example, switch gear X. I have XCBR and XSWI. So what do we mean by XCBR? That means this is circuit breaker. And then also this is circuit switch. So what if I'm going to call this function metering and measurement? Meron tayong M. And then how many numbers involved in this N? M. Meron tayong 7. Meron tayong MMXU. Ibig sabihin, ito palang MMXU na kinuha natin kanina, this is the data model of measuring of measurand. Yung mga value actually. Amperes, voltage, watt, kilowatt, VA, yun ang ano niya, yun ang declaration niya. We have also for sequence and imbalance and for harmonics and interharmonics. All these things will be modeled here. So that's the reason why the circuit breaker, the RTU, the PLC, the meter, yung mga, if I may, yung mga power meter, yung mga PM850, yung iba't ibang mga power meter natin, wala na yun pala. If we choose not to use it. Kasi sakop na siya ng function ng IED. Okay? So also sa ating protection function, we have how many ANSI device numbers? We have 94. We have 96. Okay? Start from 50, 51 yung mga ground over current protection, 87 differential protection, number 40 yung sa generator natin na loss of excitation. So yun lahat na nandito na. Okay? But they are only looking for what is suitable for the substation. Kaya 27 lang ang kanilang in-include. And there are also additional na protection-related functions. So all these things, medyo mahirap siyang i-memorize. So for that reason, dapat meron kang catalog sa mga dito. Bago program or magkaroon ng modeling sa atin pong IEC 61850. And after that, out of 86 logical nodes, it is further expanded into 350 data classes. Like for example, the measurance, the unit that I have mentioned earlier. So pag meron kang A, that means you are measuring this value. If you are measuring this CTLV, that means you are voltage on secondary of transformer as used for voltage control. So different values, different classes, logical nodes, which is, by the way, hindi natin kino-convert ha. Yung physical world ng electrical system natin, they are also doing their own business. And in parallel, there is also a virtual model of that process. So in that case, pag mayroong mga undesirable event, this virtual model will try to control the physical device. So yun po yung pinaka-purpose natin dito. So this is the hierarchical transmission of data. So we have here, for example, the HMI. doon sa atin pong control room. Paupo-upo tayo doon. Okay? So we are going to CSWI. Ano yung CSWI? I think this is the control, supervisory control. Okay? Hindi ko lang na-memorize, but I think this is supervisory control, which will control the circuit breaker. And here, this is the real circuit breaker, separated by a process bus. Okay? So kung makikita ninyo, ito yung ating sa bay control natin, di ba? Yung station bus, ito na yung process bus natin. So if we have here what we call this CT and PT, dadaan mo na yon sa merging unit na sinasabi natin. Okay? And then, how are we going to identify this command inside the modeling? So meron tayong MMS conformance. So yung IEC 6150, conform pala sila sa ano ba yung MMS? Manufacturing Messaging System. Actually, this is not, parang kinuha lang yan siya ng 61850 to become standard of the transmission of data. Okay, like for example, we can say read, then the computer understand that you need to read, write, get variable, we have input, output, we have also take control and others. Actually, pwedeng the list goes on. Marami ito. Ito lang ang kinuha ko for the sake of demonstration for this presentation. Okay? So this is the MMS conformance. This is the sample hierarchical transmission of data. So basically, this is our model. And then, we can say that the substation will never look the same again. So kung halimbawa, magkakaroon ka na ng modeling, titingnan mo yung substation mo, ito mga SF6, mga gas insulated switch, ibig sabihin, parang, ito nakikita ko na, ito ay, ito, CT ito. Okay. Voltage transformer, this is circuit breaker, TCTR, okay? And then we have here the time over current relay protection, time over current relay. So this is supervisory control. So ito na yung pinaka model natin ng ating physical device pag ipasok natin sa computer. Okay? So meron din. So ito yung ating substation. Tapos meron tayong parallel operation in a virtual world. And this is our physical world. Okay. So let's move forward. A device level programming parameter setting. So di ba meron na tayong mga models ng ating mga data. So what we are going to do now is to set the parameters. So kung paano natin siya lagyan ng mga values, paano natin siya paano natin lagyan ng mga function block diagrams in order to perform the logical relationship. Merong sequential, what else? Merong mga interlocking and other things. Okay? So, of course, itong device level programming, parang nasa na to, designer. Because the logic is from you. Kung magaling kang ng logic, mag-apply ng logic out of the data model that you have done from the previous part, then you can carry it out. So, meaning to say, there may be two persons, then the outcome is the same, but when it comes to the algorithm, it could be different. Okay? They might have the same. So, ito yung ating algorithm. So, halimbawa, ito, example ko lang ito. Ito, meron kang input, meron kang process, tapos merong decision box, hanggang makarating ka doon sa end. So, this is the algorithm. And then after that, you are going to convert it into programming. So the programming that I mentioned here is like, for example, yung sinabi ko na, yung mga logical sequence, yung mga interlocking, and so on and so forth. Okay? So like, for example, also, we have here, IEC also is supported by itong mga math functions, arithmetic, at saka yung mga Boolean. In order to materialize your programming in the device level. So like for example, in this particular example, simple lang ito na 2-bus system sa feeder natin. Okay? So, meron tayong disconnect 1. Ito, example lang muna ito ha. Para mas parang lively ang ating interactive ang ating. Wala kasi tayong simulator dito eh. Wala tayong license ng simulator. But we can buy simulator, pero mahal. Pero sa mga siguro merong mga ano tayo dito na mga may mga employee ng ABB, sigurado meron silang ganito. So, for example, meron tayong disconnect 1, meron tayong disconnect 2, meron tayong disconnect 3. Okay? So, ano ba itong mga disconnect? Para lang itong switch ng bahay, di ba? Okay? Nagdi-disconnect lang talaga siya. So, after that, meron tayong circuit breaker. So, for example, meron din tayong earth switch, meron din tayong earth switch. Okay? So, for example, meron tayong gagawing maintenance dito. This part. So, what we are going to do? So, it needs interlocking. So, by the way, the status of this is open. This is open and this is open. Kasi yung horizontal line, parang it means na ano siya, binablock yung current. And this is closed. So, basically, the current flows here. Okay, ito yon. So meron tayong maintenance pala dito na gagawin. So ano ba ang sa mga inline yung trabaho sa substation or sa power system. So ano bang dapat nating gagawin dito? Are we going to open the disconnect switch first or we are going to open the circuit breaker first? Because both of them will interrupt the flow of electric current. So which one is the best idea? Okay? So of course, ang best idea dyan is unang muna nating i-disconnect ang circuit breaker bago ang mga disconnect. For what reason? Kasi may current yan. Pag disconnect ang una nating kinuha or ating unang inopen, may mga arc yan. This is 230. May arcing. So to prevent that from happening, we have to open the circuit breaker first kasi meron siyang tinatawag na arc suppressor, which is gas na lang talaga kasi 230 po ito. Sa mga lower voltage like 34.5, meron tayong mga vacuum circuit breaker. Okay? So, yun, meron tayong arc suppression. So, pag ma-open na natin itong circuit breaker, then after that, we can open the disconnect. So, in this case, we are now preventing the accidental flow of current here. Or maybe kung connected pa ito sa isang bus, mga RMU, ma-prevent din niya yung pagpasok ng current dito. So safe na ito. And this is initially open, so safe din dito, wala na. However, meron pa tayong isang dapat mabantayan. Itong earthing switch. Ano ba itong earthing switch? Pag mag-conduct tayo ng maintenance dito, we have to close this because as the transmission line, it has capacitance. Tama? Natural capacitance at saka yung ating capacitor mismo na nilagay natin which may accumulate charges. Diba sa ating mga transmission line model, meron tayong short transmission line, may long transmission line. So even without the presence of the capacitor, but the model itself, it has a capacitance due to natural occurrence. Okay? Doon sa separation ng ating earth at saka sa conductor. So that will also accumulate charges. So in that case, i-close natin itong earthing switch. So sometime ma-drain na yung ating mga charges, then we can do the maintenance right now. So what lesson we can get from here? This means that there is a sequence, there is interlocking. For example, the operator in the substation. Okay, unmanned, this is unmanned substation. By the way, okay, so pumunta yung mga tao kasi may ano. So yung operator sa remote hindi maganda yung gising niya. Pag walang interlocking, pwede kasi niya itong anuhin i-open. If there is no interlocking. And also possibly din na hindi niya ito gagalawin. Hindi din niya ito i-close. Sabi niya, okay, go. Conduct the maintenance now. So, that is operation. Okay? Okay, so in that case, ito lang muna. Okay, ito na. Limbawa, meron tayong permissive contact. So, gagawin natin yun doon sa mismong program. So, meron tayong halimbawa, permissive control. Nandito yung ating disconnect 1 at saka disconnect 3. Circuit breaker natin nakalagay sa inverter. This is a Boolean function na pinakita po kanina. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, if these are all 0, and this is 1, this is 0, so this is 0. So wala kang permission para galawin ito. Okay? So ito yung mga programming, mga device level na pwede nating magawa doon sa isang IED. But in reality, may nag-screen capture lang ako. Okay? Then these are the real software na pwede nating doon natin pwedeng ilagay ang ating mga values. Okay, meron tayong mga status in order to control this operation. And then, also, pwede rin ganito, protection tripping scheme, para din meron tayong materialize na mga gagawin dito. Okay? So, let's move forward. So, okay, so in this case, one of the characteristic po sa ating tinatawag nito sa ating programming, sa ating IEC 61850 is the GOOS signal. So ano ba itong GOOS? Generic Object Oriented System-Wide Events. Okay, multicast message. Because the IED now supports peer-to-peer. Meron ding client to master. So if this is the master, this is the client. Then pwede din siyang peer-to-peer. Meaning ng peer-to-peer, they are at the same hierarchical level. So for example, if I'm going to say that in a certain event, you need to do something. This IED4 will need to do something. Therefore, I need to broadcast a message. Yung MMS kanina na pinakita ko, ipasok na, i-command natin na kontrolin niya ito. Before, it was being done using hard wiring. But now this can be done using by just data modeling and this Okay, so GOOS. Ano ba yung GOOS? Okay, anything that requires the exchange of information within relays. Okay, current line by hardwire connection. For example, mga breaker failure, transfer scheme, then yung mga reclosing in multi-breaker arrangements. So, yung GOOS, yung kasing GOOS, parang ano yan ba? Parang emergency message. Okay? Kasi ganito ang parang pinakapaliwanag niyan. So the IEC 61850 is operating in a TCP/IP system. So yung TCP/IP system, meron siyang 4 na layer. So we have here the link layer, yung pinakalan natin. If you move up, we have the network layer and then the transport layer and then the application layer. So ito yung MMS na sinasabi ko kanina. Now, there are cases na nagkakaroon ng lag dito. Okay? So the message is delayed in giving a multicast in case of event. So the GOOS message, yan, yung GOOS message, meron siyang capability to bypass this TCP and TCP/IP. Meaning, from the master dito, pag mayroong sinasabi na, oh, we have a substation event, very emergency. So merong specific yan. Ibabypass niya itong TCP/IP direct doon sa iyong link layer. So that, actually, sa system or sa IEC 61850, the requirement is 4 milliseconds ito. Without the GOOS message, then this 4 milliseconds cannot be materialized. So that's why it is very important. Okay? So stack mapping, kung ano natin, kung lalawakan pa natin, okay, so you have here the data model, the client server. Okay, this is the normal flow of data. It's a client server from the SCADA master, goes to the control station bus, then papunta dito sa MMS, yung manufacturing messaging system, TCP/IP, then dito sa layer. So we have time critical services which itong GOOS. Okay? So nababypass niya yung dalawa. Automatic direct siya dito sa atin pong link layer. Okay, so like for example, okay, this is a simulation in one of our simulation. Okay, so distance protection relay. So sa atin palang substation, okay, like example in this case, 200 miles apart. So meron tayong substation A, meron tayong substation B. Meron tayong circuit breaker. So the green is open and the red is closed. Okay, good. Green is open and red is closed. So sa mga conventional na mga protection relay, yung mga ohmic base, yung mga kinocompute pa natin yung mga resistance, this one, it took here around 3 seconds to open the circuit breaker after the fault occurred at this point. So this fault occurred at 44 miles from this substation. Okay, so meron tayong protection relay, meron tayong zone 1, which covers 80% of the length. We have zone 2, which covers 20% of the impedance of this. And we have also Z3, which covers the 60% of the impedance. So in this case, the one that triggers is the zone 1. Here, this one, na-trigger niya. So that's why this is not AND gate, this is OR gate. So that's why this becomes true. So nag-open siya, nag-open. But it took 23 seconds here, 23 seconds to open this breaker. Kasi ohms, ang impedance or resistance ang kanyang mini-measure dito. So ang nag-trigger sa kanya actually is zone 2. So titingnan mo yung zone 2. Zone 2 which covers 20% of zone 1. So zone 1, hindi na niya inabot, di ba? So yung zone 2, dito, inabot pa niya. Under siya rito. So this takes around 23 seconds. So di ba marami pang how many seconds is the difference? There are 20 seconds. So marami pang posibleng mangyari. Baka mayroong nasunog doon. Maraming posibleng mangyari sa 20 seconds kung pag-usapan natin ang electricity. But with the automation, we are using the advanced protection system, yung mga IED device, okay? This is one of simulation. Nag-screen capture lang ako. So this is being applied as DUTT. Ano bang DUTT? Direct Underreaching Transfer Trip. Okay. Ito. So in this case, ayan, nagkaroon uli ng fault 45 miles. So parang close lang siya sa 44 kasi mali yung pagkapindot ko. After 3 seconds, nagkaroon ng event. Okay? Nagkaroon ng opening ng circuit breaker because the zone 1 detects the fault. However, compared to the first one, hindi na niya hinintay yung 3 seconds. Bakit? Kasi meron na siyang IED na hindi siya nagre-rely sa ohms value doon sa natural decay ng yung alam mo yung thermal magnetic natin na parang paganon ang curve, merong short circuit, may short circuit overload, tapos merong ano ba yun, merong short circuit, may ground fault, that's merong overload, okay? So parang ganon. Dito, ang ginawa niya, 3 seconds, dinetect kaagad ng TX, transmitter. Tinransmit niya over a media, so wireless LAN, and tapos na-receive niya, RX. Okay, so this is also IEC 61850. The goose message activated, and we can see that they trip almost at the same time, within the range or the distance of 155 miles from the fault. So ito yung mga example ng ating mga advanced na mga IED na mga numerical relay. So meron palang enhancement kung i-automate natin ang ating system. And this is one of the example demonstration sa ginawag atin pong tinatawag na goose message. Okay? So let's example. Now, the good news is meron tayong mga third-party software. Kasi baka sabihin niyo, sir, masyadong mahirap yon. Okay? So all we need to do is first we have to identify or to understand really the concept in the physical world. Ano yon? Talagang requirement yung sa mga processes natin. So dapat i-review natin kung hindi man tayo nakahilera doon. Tapos, pagdating dito sa modeling, dapat marunong din tayo mag-model kasi hindi din tayo kayang mag-model pag hindi natin naintindihan yung physical world. But doing all these things like yung programming, yung pwede na nating gamitin yung mga third-party software. So if you know the Omicron, they are one of the best na meron silang system configurator. Okay? Like for example, gagawa ka ng goose message. Very difficult pag device to device. Pero pag gagamit ka ng mga third-party software which supports all the manufacturer, so you can just put it here and then send goes to this device. Okay? Okay, so actually this is the actual screen capture of their software. So halimbawa, meron ka ditong IED, tapos meron ka ditong data, mga HMI. So all you need to do is to configure here, send or receive. So in that case, pagkatapos meron pa mga testing and simulation. So like for example, send goes with simulation flag. Okay. So merong mga warning na hindi successful and they are successful. And also they have the capability na binomodel na rin nila mismo pati yung cabinet mo kung saan nakalagay yung mga IED. So this is the capability of the third-party software of IEC in order for us not to be bothered by the device-to-device configuration of our IEDs. Ang importante lang talaga natin is yung data modeling. Yun. Pagkatapos ng data modeling, pagkatapos ng mga goose event, kasi tayo din yung mag-identify ano ba yung mga event na gusto kong yung tinatawag natin na time critical services. This one, time critical services. Okay? And this is the example, mga time critical services. So tayo na mismo ang mag-identify niyan. Tapos ating i-encode dito sa mga third-party software and things will flow as normal. Yan. So yan, mga goose message yan, may mga simulation dyan. At mismo, right away, malalaman natin not whether we are successful or not. But I think this is very specific to certain industry. So talagang third-party software. Kasi pag halimbawa, nagpagawa tayo sa substation sa Pilipinas, maraming contractor na involved dyan eh. May supplier natin ABB. Okay, kami magsusupply ng device. Meron ding sa structure. Pagkatapos yung gagawa ng mga ghost messaging out of the design, pwedeng ibang company rin. Okay? But at least right now, this is just for awareness. Okay? So this is our desired output, by the way. So kung ano ba ang kaibahan ng substation automation natin ngayon sa PLC? Yung balik ulit tayo kanina, yung data modeling natin sa PLC. Sa PLC, posible kasi na sa isang manufacturer, iba't iba yung declaration of variables. Like for example, sa Siemens, kung mag-declare ka ng input, I124.0, I120.0.1, okay? Q124.0, ganon. Kung sa output ka naman. Pag sa ibang manufacturer, iba din naman yung input nila at saka ibang output. Kung mag-declare ka ng timer, iba din yung timer setting nila. At dito, sa ibang manufacturer, iba din timer setting. Here, parang binaliktad. Yung mga data modeling na mga XCBR, whether that is ABB, Siemens, or GE, pareho lang yan. So ibig sabihin, hindi na tayo malilito kung ano ang i-memorize natin na language or na syntax, kumbaga. Kasi naka-standardize siya sa IEC 61850. Okay? So ito yung pinaka tawag nito, pinaka desired output. Okay? So as of this point, I think masyadong mabilis. Pero yan po ang mapaglilingkod ko sa panig ng on the part of substation automation. Kasi after kasi nito, simulation na po tayo eh. I cannot do it. Okay, I cannot do it here. Wala tayong wala akong software na may license. Okay? Kasi kami sa totoo lang doon sa National Power Academy. Actually, medyo nag-post ako ng konting picture kasi bawal din i-post eh. Meron talaga kami doong isang unit ready for unmanned substation. Okay, so the course delivery is like hindi naman ganitong level, but I spoke to different technicians. So isa-isa ililista ko, tapos ganito pala. Okay? So nagkaroon tayo ng mga possibly kasi nandoon yung mga simulator nila. So of course, I have to try as well. So that's for the reason why I think for me, malaking factor din yung meron tayong mga ganitong mga gamit. Okay? So doon po nakuha yung mga ganitong mga So merong mga simulator nito. So they quoted me as $3,000 to $4,000. Masyadong mahal. Sabi ko, wag na lang. Wag na lang. Otherwise, magkaroon ka ng business. So pwede mo nang gamitin pag pero this is for information purposes only. Okay? So kung may mga katanungan mamaya na lang kasi yun okay. So kasi ito, smart grid. So ito yung parang pinaka-last na ng aking presentation kasi I am actually fascinated by the question, the automation of our power system is really necessary or not? So for me, my personal opinion is of course yes. Not for any reasons. For the primary reason, yun yung sinabi ng ating opening remarks kanina, na dapat magkaroon tayo ng mga reliable na mga protection devices para magkaroon man ng mga dilubyo, mga sakuna na involve ang ating power system, mas madali nating maprotektahan. Okay? So improve the public and people's safety. So that's the primary reason. But we have another reason. The optimization of renewable energy integration. In particular, the wind and the what we call this solar. Kasi it has been found out that the solar and wind energy can disturb heavily doon sa atin pong grid stability, grid imbalance, basta may solar. Okay, so this is an example of solar profile. This is taken way back October 16. So kung nandito si friend ko na si Engineer Gilbert Valenton. So siya po meron siyang kasing ganitong system. Tapos binigyan niya ko ng access as a part also of my thesis. Okay. So if you can see here, this is the 6 a.m. in the morning. This is the power by the sun. So as you can imagine, this is intermittent. At this point, from 2.4, it drops directly to 1. So ilang percentage po yan? Tapos taas uli, baba, taas, baba. So ibig sabihin, if we are going to consider this renewable energy integrated natin sa ating grid, it will be very difficult kung hahayaan na lang natin siya without the control. Okay? By the way, dito sa amin, sa Saudi Arabia, actually itong company namin ngayon ay under ng Aqua Power, one of the largest power conglomerate in Saudi Arabia. So they built in one of the area in Sakaka, 300 megawatt solar. So they are also trying to send their technicians, their operators to our institute to train. So kaya medyo may idea din ako sa ganitong technology. So halimbawa pala, kung nasa panig tayo ng power plant, say synchronous generator yung atin, no? Meron tayong thermal power plant. Okay. Now, dalawang option. Pag in case na tataas ang atin pong output ng ating renewable energy, what will happen? We have two options. It's either we are going to ramp down the generator. Okay, pero hindi naman zero ha. Kasi sa mga thermal, meron kasing minimum like 30% lang yung ramp down natin. Hindi tayo bumaba doon. Otherwise, magkaroon ng problema. Okay. So ito, nasa sa maximum, in order to maximize our benefit of solar or wind, dapat i-ramp down natin ating generator into a desired level, but not that much. Bakit? Kasi pag biglang bumaba ang ating solar, like what happened doon sa Negros. I don't know if there is somebody from Negros here, which is actually quoted by keynote siya sa isang presentation ng Philippine, I don't know if it is WISM or PMDC, I don't know, but basta isang forum. Okay? So, within 5 minutes, bumaba from 155 to 100 megawatt. 155 to 100 megawatts. So, within 5 minutes. Ngayon, ang question natin, pag i-ramp down mo yung generator mo, paano mo hahabulin yun? Okay? So, according to the Philippine Grid Code, pag meron tayong mga base load, 1.5% of your capacity every minute. Yun lang ang ramp down mo. Ramp up. So hindi mo posibleng from 30%, for example, at an instant, pwede mong gagawing habulin mo yung 100 na deficiency. So ibig sabihin, magkakaroon talaga ng problem sa grid balancing ito. If this is the case. Okay? Also, meron din tayong isang option. Yun yung first option, ramp down the generator. The second option is to maintain the generator level no matter what the output of this renewable energy. So magkakaroon naman ng hindi natin ito magamit. Tama po? Kasi magkakaroon tayo ng so much excess of our produced power as a combination of the solar as well as the synchronous generator. Okay? So halimbawa, for example lang, at a particular point, nag-produce ang atin pong solar ng, say, 40 megawatt. Tapos ang ating synchronous generator ay kasi hindi natin masyadong i-ramp down, 40. So meron siyang total of, say, 70. Pero ang ating demand is way lesser than that, say 50. So alam naman po natin pag naibato na natin yung electric power sa grid, hindi na yan pwede, pag walang gagamit dyan, wala na yan, mawawala yan. That is a well-settled principle. So in that case, we cannot maximize the energy taken from the renewable energy. Parang useless lang. Parang parang for the sake of nakikita. But technically, hindi siya possible. Okay? So with the smart grid, so what we are going to do? So meron na tayong tinatawag na BESS ngayon. Okay, Battery Energy Storage System. This is a grid type battery. Okay? So may mga 2 megawatts, mayroong mga 5 megawatts. Yan. So ano po ang gagawin ng atin pong BESS? So, 'di ba meron tayong dispatch? So, kino-compute nila yung ako ang customer, distribution utility. So I will tell now forecast I need 50 megawatt of power. Okay. Tapos yun namang yung pero yung 50 megawatt, meron akong allowance doon, syempre. Kasi baka magkaroon ng deficiency. Pero 'di ba meron tayong mga hour ahead na mga forecast. So inaano din yun, mini-monitor. But anyway, for example, 50 megawatt ang aking requirement. Then at that point, ang binigay sa akin ay say 55. Okay, limbawa lang. So meron tayong excess na 5 megawatts. Tapos dumating itong si solar. Nag-produce ng 10 megawatt in a day. So ibig sabihin yung 10 megawatt na yun parang excess na yun kung wala tayong smart grid. Okay? Kasi in-integrate natin sa system. Tapos sinabi natin, ayokong mag-ramp down ng generator kasi pag biglang mawala yan, wala na, paano ko hahabulin yan? Okay? So in this case, meron palang mga algorithm to, during the time when there is a maximum output from our solar generator, this solar generator will charge this battery. Yun. So ibig sabihin, yung requirement na 50 megawatt at yung sinupply ng generation company na 55 megawatt for example, ano na yun? Kumbaga as is na yun, business as usual. Tapos yung mga na-produce ng solar generator, may mga controller na dapat whatever i-produce niya, ilagay natin sa battery. Yan. Pagkatapos, in due time, Halimbawa, sa bandang gabi, siyempre sa gabi, wala ka nang hahabuling solar. So, unti-unti mo rin siyang i-release sa grid. Okay. So, you are going to optimize the renewable integration. So, will it happen without smart grid? Of course, no. So, hindi siya pwedeng mangyari, hindi siya posibleng mangyari pag walang smart grid. That means if we are going to adopt the smart grid, then we don't have any choice but to adopt the automation. Kasi dito sa BESS mo, maglagay ka ng substation din dito. Halimbawa, may capacity ito na 5 megawatt or 2 megawatts. Like I think sa Meralco, they are going to put a 2 megawatt battery system, grid type. Tapos i-interface natin dito sa atin pong mga substation dito. So how are they going to talk to each other? Okay? So with the automation, there is a gateway here that I mentioned earlier. There is a gateway. We have an algorithm. We have a communication through optical fiber or through access point antenna, whatever it is. Yung substation automation na diniscuss natin kanina, magamit din yun. So what's the purpose? In order for us to renewable energy integration. Kung lawakan pa natin yung atin pong pag-aaral dito sa smart grid, marami pang mga mga application like like for example yung ating tinatawag na demand side management, okay? So the customer are given choices to schedule their tapos mga cellphone na lang ang kanilang ginagamit para ma-execute yung mga process. Okay? Meron din tayong demand side management. Pero yung ibang mga smart grid application, mga conceptual level pa yun, mga conceptual level pa yun, under study. But as far as I know, mayroong isang company, yung Schneider Electric, nag-offer siya ng parang total package sa isang smart grid na tinatawag nila na EcoStruxure. Okay, you can search about the EcoStruxure. So I know EcoStruxure also because nung nag-present din ako ng isang business case doon sa MBA, so yun ang pinresent ko. And if you are going to research, sa ResearchGate, makikita mo yung article ko doon. How the Schneider Electric nagbibigay ng solution sa climate change because of their EcoStruxure. They have a different business segment in this regard. Okay? So meron silang complete package. And I hope that other competitor also will do the same. Kasi business segment kasi, dapat meron kang cement mga product, meron kang marine. Ngayon meron silang EcoStruxure that supports also IoT, Internet of Things technology. So marami pong mga application po para sa ating smart grid. And again, before we end this presentation or this webinar, I could say that for now, with the advancement with the call to reduce the emission of carbon emissions, then we need the integration of renewable energy, and as a logical consequence, we need also the smart grid. This is very important and necessary. Kung walang automation, hindi possible ang renewable energy integration. Okay? So yan po ang ito na yung dapat i-discuss ko pala kanina. So ito yung substation natin, so ito yung ating power plant. So baka dito meron tayong mga battery somewhere. So the substation will coordinate with each other in order to optimize the process. So ito yung parang pinaka kanina. I-charge mo na yung battery and later on it will be discharged. Okay? So I think thank you very much. We spent around 1.5 hours, I think. Marami pong salamat sa lahat.